Appreciate that. Looks like everybody is. Boom. You guys are like Johnny on the spot here. We have to go back to 1955. What do we got here? Oh man, I woke up with this awful cough this morning. It doesn't feel like I'm sick. It's just I feel cough this morning. My God, I've been talking, and hopefully I fixed the sound over there. Excellent. And I've been talking for like a minute or so, and YouTube didn't pick it up at all. It literally just now started. It's so weird. What's up, West Virginia Pappy? Number one. All right, let's see here. Looks like we're slowly filling the room up here, but let's go ahead and go back to the chat. We're gonna go ahead and check that right now. Jordan, first Ian, number two, Catitude, Tina Prince, Alan, Beecher, Hicktown Honey, Tefel, Deborah, and Miss Melody. Good morning, everybody. Hopefully you guys are having a great day. Looks like we got a handful of people popping in on the clapper side. So do me a favor, drop in and say hi, and I'll say hi back. Let's see here. Today's live stream. Well, no, before we get into that, hopefully you guys all had a great Thanksgiving. Angela Harkins, gotcha. Angela Harkins, thank you for saying hello. I always say hello back whenever somebody says hello to me too. Let's see here. I made it back for the show, Ian says. Gotcha. Okay. Hopefully you guys had a great holiday week, basically long week, long weekend, something like that. Mine was actually pretty good. Got together with the family, took family photos, sang Kumbaya. Actually, it was joy, 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 I believe. And as you know, I'm not religious, but I will fight tooth and nail for those that are religious. So hopefully you guys had a great Thanksgiving. Starting to see the prices. People are starting to get sticker shock. I saw in the chat today somebody said that they were going to. They tried to go to watch a movie, and after they were getting ready to pay for the tickets, it was about $100 for their family to go watch a damn movie. So that didn't happen. Also going viral right now is the $15 or $16 McDonald's burger meal. I'm pretty sure it's the Big Mac meal. I've seen the video. I've seen the guy's receipt, but I mean, it's like I have not seen that here. I would definitely drive the hell away if that was the case. So my beard's looking a little rough. I need to retrim it. It's just like growing like crazy. So the prices are starting to get to us now. By the thumbnail, end times. It is not a biblical. This is not a biblical end times thing. I chose that because I wanted to get some people's attention, because there are things happening in the world that we don't really pay attention to, or we're just not privy to the information. We don't understand why certain things are happening. We got here. Todd said hi. Hey, hi. Don't celebrate Thanksgiving too much. Family drama. I got you, Todd. But anyway, good morning. So I came across this article last week, and I was going to do this during last week's Wednesday live stream, but I didn't do a live stream on Wednesday because of the whole pre-Thanksgiving, just the craziness, all of it. So I had to like let you guys know that's not going to happen. But I came across this article, and it, as usual, it's always some little snippet article that gives you very little facts, very little transferable, intelligent information to form your own thoughts on. And so I had to go digging through a lot of different articles to find this article connected to that article, connected to that article, so on and so forth. So I went out there, actually did all that for you guys. Well, looks like Window Liquor showed up. Good to see you, bro. It's finally a benefit to being single. Cheap to go to the movies. There you go, Ian. So what I wanted to talk to you guys about today, and it's kind of weird. First and foremost, I'm not one of those people that is like, we're destroying our planet. I'm not. Hey, good morning, Eagle Lover. I am not one of those people that's like, oh, we're destroying the planet, or let's hug a tree. That is not who I am. That is absolutely 100% not who I am. But statistically, I guess you could say, more of a man of science than anything else. And, if the science makes sense, then, if you use empirical theory, then you're going to come to some thoughts that people won't like. Now, following some of this article was actually in like Science Review or something like that. Following this article, it leads you to really start to think about a few things, and we're going to go ahead and get into that. Now, before we do that, do me a favor, hit that like button, the thumbs up button. It really does help the channel if you haven't done that. I see 16 people here and only 9 thumbs up, but as usual, YouTube is always wrong. Anyway, and on the Clapper side, whatever you guys do, please do that now, and that'll draw more people in. Then we're going to go ahead and get into this. I feel with a lot of reading that I'm going to be bringing on the yawns. We'll be bringing on the yawns today. Okay, so the title of the article is Scientists Use Computer to Predict When Society Will Collapse. And it turns out we don't have that long left. Okay, so first and foremost, this is not a doomsday channel. This is strictly science. Scientists have used a computer, use a computer, it's 2023, have used a computer to predict when society will end. And it looks like there's not long left if their calculations were to be believed. Now, as with any prediction or hypothesis, its outcome will remain to be seen, but a team of scientists once made a very bleak prediction of what life would look like in the future. Since the dawn of technology, scientists have used it to try and predict what the future will look like, as well as to ensure we can take steps to prevent major issues such as climate change on the environment. So the article focuses on climate change, but I've already, as usual, I've highlighted all the stuff that's actually of importance to us. Problem is, most scientists are politically aligned. And Todd, you're right. They are. That's why you do due diligence and you research more than one stupid article. But what will happen to society as we know it? Well, if this particular prediction is to be believed, it could come crashing down in 2040. That's only 17 years away, guys. It's only 17 years away. Back in the 1970s, a group of scientists from MIT looked at data patterns factoring in a variety of different things, such as natural resources and energy usage, as well as pollution, to model what society would look like in the future. Oh, there it is. First Sean. How far do we get? 8 minutes in. We already got first Sean. Oh, it's a big one, too. There we go. Okay. They use computer modeling to make their analysis, which was published by the Club of Rome. If you don't know who that is, you might want to look it up. We'll talk about them a little bit more later on during the stream. And pointed to limits of growth. That's in quotes, guys. Limits of growth, which would cause an industrial collapse, meaning society would also fall near the middle of the 21st century. While most would hope that life would only continue to improve and become more efficient with the wealth of technological advances that have happened over the years, these scientists gave a much bleaker outlook. They predicted in just 17 years, society would collapse. While the report was ridiculed at the time, similar results were produced by another team of researchers doing a similar study in 2009. The newer report, which was published by the American Scientist, revealed that the outcome was almost exactly on course some 35 years ago in 2008. The study added, "It is important to recognize that its predictions have not been invalidated and in fact seem quite on target. We're not aware of any model made by economists that is as accurate over such a long span." Ooh. Love it. All right, so what does that mean so far? Well, they did a study. They confirmed the study. I found out later there were actually 3 studies that actually confirm it. And what are they leading to? Where are they going with these articles, with this thought, and why? How are they getting there? What is leading them to their hypothesis? I know, right? Thanks, Bradley. What is leading them to this hypothesis, and how are they? Where are these data points that they're getting? So I'm going to move on to the next article that I found that has more detail. According to a new peer-reviewed scientific report, now they're calling it industrial civilization. Industrial civilization is likely to deplete its low-cost mineral resources within the next century, with debilitating impacts for the global economy and key infrastructure within the coming decade. Okay, so, and let's see here. This was reported in the study. The study was sent and then reported by the 33rd report of the Club of Rome, so you can look that up. And what are they talking about there? They're talking about depletion, using up things. We constantly believe in our minds, because we've done it for so long, that we will just continue to advance our evolution. But what if our evolution is directly based on our resources? One of the places that we're seeing that the most is in batteries, electric cars, going electric. We've all seen this. We've all heard this. People taught us, you got the politicians, you got the scientists, you got a lot of people that are standing up and going, there's not enough nickel in the world to make all these batteries. There's not enough cadmium. There's not enough, whatever the rare resource is going to be to make all these batteries. Okay, so we're going to need to think about mineral resources, and are they drying up because we're getting to them, or we can't get to them? Hey, what's up Jester? Good to see you, man. I haven't talked to you in a while. This live stream is about your mom and what happened this weekend. All right, let's see. So the first report in 1972 titled "The Limits to Growth." I love you too. You son of a bitch. 349 diamonds in one shot. I think I just made $1.50. Okay, so the first report in 1972 titled "The Limits to Growth" was conducted by a scientific team at MIT and warned that limited availability of natural resources relative to rising costs would undermine continued economic growth by around the second decade of the 21st century. Gee, that sounds familiar. Although widely ridiculed, we're talking about being ridiculed again, recent scientific reviews confirm that the original report's projections in the base scenario remained robust. In 2008, Australia's federal government scientific research agency concluded that the limit to growth forecast of potential global ecological and economic collapse coming up in the middle of the 21st century due to convergence of peak oil, climate change, and food and water insecurity, or food and water security. Okay, so peak oil and food are probably the only ones that are actually valid. And they're saying that the study proved that the original study is on track. Actual current trends in the areas resonate strongly with the overshoot and collapse displayed in the book's business as usual scenario. There's a book out there called Business as Usual. If you want to read it, have fun, go at it. In 2009, the American Scientist published, it's a journal. The American Scientist, the journal, published similar findings by other scientists that review by leading systems ecologists, university, concluding that while the limits to growth model, the predictions of extreme pollution and population decline have not come true. The model results are, quotes, almost exactly on course some 35 years ago. Later in 2008, with a few appropriate assumptions, it is important to recognize that its predictions have not been invalidated and in fact seem quite on target. Okay, so they're just rehashing some of these words. Now, when we start talking about the New Club of Rome report, the phase of mining by humans is spectacular, but very brief episode very brief episode in the geological history of the planet. The limits to mineral extraction are not limits of quantity. They're limits of energy. Extracting minerals takes energy, and the more dispersed the minerals are, the more energy is needed. Only conventional ores can be profitable mined with the amounts of energy we can produce today. The combination of mineral depletion, associative radioactivity, and heavy metal pollution, and the accumulation of greenhouse gases from fossil fuel exploitation is leaving our descendants their heavy legacy of a virtually transformed world. So, what's up, Major Ken? Last. So what they're basically saying there is that we can't produce enough energy to mine all of these things that are inside our earth. We don't have enough energy. It's almost like, a battery powering a battery powering a battery. It's not possible if you guys know anything about this type of science. It's almost like the perpetual motion machine. Technically, it's not perpetual. It just appears to be. But there's not enough energy. We can't produce enough energy to mine all of the minerals that we want to mine. And we'll run out of energy, or the ability to produce that energy, before we can mine all the minerals that we want to mine. Now, there are other things you're like, yeah, whatever, LP, man, minerals. No, this goes further beyond just getting some rock to make a battery. That's really not what this is. That's really not the real problem, guys. And we're going to get to that here shortly. I'm going to take this sip of coffee, and if you have not hit that thumbs up button on the YouTube side, there's 28 of you and 17 thumbs up. Please do me a favor. Do me a favor and hit that thumbs up button. It does help the channel. Okay, so what they're calling for is a fundamental reorganization of the way societies produce, manage, and consume resources that could support a new high-technology civilization. But this would entail a new circular economy. Circular economy. Premised on wide scale practices of recycling across production and consumption chains, a wholesale shift to renewable energy, application of agroeconomical methods to food production. Now, I want you guys to remember those big words that I just said. They're very important. Application of agroeconomical methods to food production. I want you guys to remember those words, because we're going to talk about what they really mean here shortly. What's up, Tefel? Good to see you, bro. Let's see here. And they would be very different from social structures. In the absence of a major technological breakthrough in clean energy, the production such as nuclear fusion, which so far seems improbable, recycling, conservation, and efficiency in the management of the planet's remaining accessible minerals resources will need to be undertaken carefully and cooperatively with the assistance of cutting-edge science. Limits to economic growth, or even degrowth, that's kind of an important word too, degrowth. The report says, do not need to imply an end to prosperity, but rather require a conscious decision by societies to lower their environmental impacts, reduce wasteful consumption, and increase efficiency, changes which could in fact increase quality of life while lowering inequality. All right, I'm not really concerned about the whole inequality thing. You're either, I don't know, you're either qualified or you're not. I know they mean something completely different, but you can see that this article is just lightly peppered with social justice warrior crap. So what they're basically saying is that there's enough technology to continue at our current level, but we do need to look at our world in a more less wasteful way. Um, I'll be honest with you, I recently found out that lots of the plastic that is recyclable rarely gets recycled. And I'm not talking about you using a green can at your house. I'm talking about when it finally gets to the dump and sorted out, it doesn't actually go off to be recycled. It actually gets put into a dump. So it's kind of like, what the hell's going on, man? What the hell's going on? And don't get me wrong, I told you at the very beginning of the stream, I am not a tree hugging purple haired freak. I throw my glass and my plastic in the same damn can. And the reason I do it is because there's somebody who's paid to separate it at the dump. There's no reason for me to do it. So some of the keywords that they used there were degrowth, basically regression, going backwards. People constantly talk about the old ways. Well, the old ways worked. And then we became consumers and we bought everything in plastic and the world was singing Kumbaya and everybody went to the movies and everybody had a good time and so on and so forth. But there's still a lot of waste that's actually happening and shame on us. But I think my biggest one is the wasting of food. And I know we're talking about minerals and supplies, but this all links directly to food. And if you don't know it, I'm about to tell you all about it. All right, across a range of resources over the short years and medium decades term, resources constraints will, at best, increase energy and commodity prices over the next century and, at worst, trigger a long-term decline in the global economy and civil unrest. Whenever they talk about, somebody talks about civil unrest, it's always about either some politician has done somebody wrong, so they've led us down the path of righteousness that turns out to be the yellow brick road, which is nothing more than a piss river. And we all know what's happening with that as far as our administration goes. We pretty much know that's exactly what it is, but what they're really talking about when they talk about civil unrest is the exact words. Civilization becomes unrestful. They become agitated. They become upset. They become pissed off because somebody or something has happened that is affecting their world that they don't like. And they know in their guts, in their heart, that they should not be feeling this way because it should not be happening. So what would drive us to civil unrest? Well, I mean, economically, it's all the prices of everything, guys. I honestly think that, has anybody noticed the price of gas it's kind of stuck in a really low spot comparatively to last year? If you've noticed, the gas prices have been stuck at the same price for 2 weeks. 2 weeks. Put a one in the chat. If you think that it has not, put a 2 in the chat. I'm kind of interested to know what's going on in your world. All I know is what's going on in the 3 gas stations that are up the road from my house that I see every day, and the price has not changed from $3.09 in 2 weeks. So I think we need to take a very hard look at the world around us, because it is what, well, it's that feeling that we get in our guts that things are wrong. And then we start talking about unrest, civil unrest, there are a myriad of factors that are going to be causing these things to happen. But what we really do need to do is take a good look at what we are doing. We're not going to save the world. We're absolutely not going to save the world. And we're not going to save the world because it's like, well, one person and this bottle in that green bin is going to save the world. And no, that's not what's going to happen. In fact, the exact opposite is actually happening from that. Yeah, the exact opposite. Lots of talk by those tree huggers, and none of what they were talking about is actually happening. I would love to, I think the only company out there that I've actually seen that is doing something legitimate, which is, and it's kind of a joke, but legitimate, there's a company out there that they're collecting plastic, and they're collecting it out of the ocean. And then they've got these little sweeper things and and get it all gets like sucked into and they get it all out of the water, right? And then they turn it into jewelry, into cheap ass freaking jewelry that you can buy on Temu. That's what they're doing. Everything has a cost. Everything that they're doing, instead of using that plastic to make more plastic bottles, instead of using that plastic to make more plastic for, the covering of a battery or a computer case or the handle on this cup, they're using the plastic to make shit crap. This just got demonetized. If I was monetized, this just got, they're using it to make junk. And where's that junk go? Remember we talked to you about that circular economy that was supposed to be a good thing that we needed to do. And where's that junk go? Goes into it turns into a pair of crappy earrings that a girl wears one time, throws in a drawer, and then 5 years later she goes through a drawer and, oh, these are junk, and throws them in the trash. And then that plastic ends up either in a landfill, or if it got recycled, then another set of crappy earrings. That's where all of this recycling stuff is actually going. So, I'm going to go ahead and take a look at the chat right here and see what people are saying. This would be a good time for you to type something in there if you wanted to be heard. Let's see. Where are we at here? Window Liquor says, I use the Simpson TV show. They seem to be super accurate. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that time travel exists, and the Simpsons are the only ones who know how to do it. Let's see here. Bradley says we need welfare capitalism to come back. I don't know about that, man. I think that anytime we get, I don't know. That sounds like government to me. That sounds like they're going to have their fingers in everything. It just sounds, it's a little, Jordan says, let's do hydrogen. Jordan, honestly, I think that that's a viable option. See, here's the thing, guys. Here's the thing. One of the things that really bothers me, and honestly, I don't have the money to do it. I'm like all of you guys. I don't have the money to do it, okay? But if they truly wanted us to stop burning, let's say coal, to stop burning coal, okay? Because it's so bad. Even though the emissions are like that, these coal plants are almost turning out cleaner air than they're using, okay? If they really wanted us to stop doing that, the technology exists for there to be a solar panel on, or a slew of solar panels on every single person's roof, on every single person's property on this planet. There is enough technology to do it. Okay? No effort has been made to do that whatsoever. And they've actually priced a lot of people out of these markets with the batteries, okay? But even if you did it with the old batteries, okay? Let's say you did it with the old batteries. Yeah, you'd need an entire room. Yeah, you'd need another garage. Yeah, you'd need to build something onto your house to house all these batteries if they're just the old iron batteries, okay? But if they just got, let's say 1 in 5 people's houses were completely disconnected electrically from the grid, what do you think that would do? How do you think that would go towards saving the planet? How do you think that would go towards, using less fossil fuels for things? You know what I'm saying? How do you think that would go? What if you could solar power your Telsa charging grid that's in your garage? How do you think that would work towards going electric? You know what I'm saying? It's pretty. The problem is that the power companies don't want you to do that because they want you to be on their teat. They want you to constantly be attached to them. I mean, think about it. The power would never go out, you know? And so, and that's a big problem for them. It's a big problem for them because they wouldn't be able to make money off of you. Now, if we go back to the resources argument, yes, resources there. What we could make the solar panels out of, I honestly don't, I couldn't tell you, okay? I couldn't tell you if we're going to run out of that. But if we're running out of everything else, you know, we could run out of that. Now, as far as doing the hydrogen thing, I think that's an awesome idea, Jordan. And there's absolutely no reason why you can't convert all of your small engines or your small motors. No, technically it's an engine. Over to hydrogen power. We've all seen the YouTube videos. It actually does work. But now you need the element. Now you need to mine that element to, and I believe it's some kind of specialized salt. They say you can use regular salt, but there's another one that you use that's better to put in the water. And is that cheaper? You know what I'm saying? It's there's math there. There's science. This all goes back to the guy who designed the engine that runs on water, you know, and which it's not possible. You know, unless you convert it to hydrogen, obviously, but just to pour water in your tank and say that it's going to work, you know, and then he mysteriously dies in a shopping cart accident at the local Piggly Wiggly, you know, and then the tinfoil hatters are out in force. But my point is that, yes, there are alternative methods to fuel our technologically advanced lifestyles, but we never do it because those things are priced just out of our range. They're priced just out of our ability to do it. Now, can it be done? Yeah. I mean, hell, you know, if you really want to put your mind to it, and even if you're broke almost every single payday, start putting money to the side and until you can buy one solar panel, and then do the same thing until you have 12. And then you just start doing that. And then the batteries, you know, I did a project some years ago and it does work, but it's just not great. I put 9 car batteries together, and I actually would run half of my damn house, all of the things that we needed. I would run a TV, a VCR, a PlayStation, and my dish TV and a fan. Pretty much everything that's in the living room that keeps people from going crazy when the power goes out. Thank you. Appreciate it, Alan. I did that. I built that myself. I had 6 solar panels. I had 9 car batteries. I bought a freaking cheap Chinese freaking power, you know, charge controller and a simple, you know, 1200 watt freaking sine wave inverter, you know, no problem. It works, but the batteries aren't super great. So it can be done. If this dum-dum can do it, anybody can do it. And don't tell me you're not capable, because there's more than enough videos on YouTube showing you what wires to freaking connect, you know? So if we could get 1 in 5 people off grid, you were talking about a major change to the environment as far as how much coal we're using and how much fossil fuels we're using and things like that. And once again, I love my car. I like to push the gas pedal and the gas make it go boom. You know, I like that. So I'm not advocating for that. But I tell you what, if I could switch my car over to hydrogen, I would probably do it in a heartbeat. Probably. So, let's see here. We could have enough if we captured an asteroid. Yeah, baby. But that's hit or miss. That's hit or miss, man. That's some wishful thinking right there. Let's see. Lithium is the 3rd most common element. Gotcha. Shots fired. What do we got here? Let's go to the more recent part of the chat so we can stay relevant. If people ground themselves going barefoot on the ground, I think it's a possibility. Okay. The efficiency of alternatives is 10% of what it should be. It is to an extent, but here's the thing. when we talk about the efficiencies of these different ideas that we're having, either solar or wind or hydrogen, when you do it on a small scale, it's more than what you need. Okay. They do all of these measurements off of massive, massive scales. Okay. You know, if you want to power your home, if you want to power everything in your house, get yourself six, 6 to 8, maybe even 10, you know, I don't know, shit, I don't know, maybe get yourself 1,000 watts, of solar power, and get yourself a good inverter and some good batteries to make it last, and then don't live in a place that doesn't have any sunlight. And there you go. Everything on a small scale is very easily done. It's very controllable, it's very scalable, and it produces exactly what you need it to produce. As far as efficiency, yeah, whatever, fire up your generator. I don't know, but I think that we have to start looking at living a little bit differently. I think that as preppers, we talk a good game, but if we're not trying to live a little bit differently, then hell, shame on you. I mean, if you have the opportunity to drive your car every day of the week, that's great. But do you need to drive your car every day a week? Can you consolidate trips so that you're not out and about just doing the things that you want to do? Those are the kind of things we should be thinking about. Let's see here. They should mandate all new homes be built with solar panel. Wow, Jordan, that's amazing. That's an amazing thought. That's an absolute amazing thought. But I'm sure that what they would do if they did that is they would mandate that those solar panels get tied into the grid. That's what they would do. Or at least make it a normalized option. Yeah, absolutely. 100% agreed. Cha-ching, you win. Absolutely. If I could put solar panels on this building that I'm in right now, I would do it in a heartbeat. If I had the money, I would do it in a heartbeat. Because, I mean, listen, when you can flip that switch and not pay a power bill, that's a game changer, guys. That's an absolute game changer. So, let's see. A man in Switzerland built a magnetic generator to run his house on. Okay. I think that's great. Yeah, I know what you're talking about, man. And they're not hard to build, but to build it to scale, if it ever tried, it wouldn't be an issue. If everyone tied in, it wouldn't be an issue. They would find a way. They would find a way to add some kind of to keep you connected, to make it a service cost. You're still connected. You're still connected. You know what I'm saying? And then they could be like, well, if a panel goes out, we'll replace it. Oh, dynamite. You can't even get the cable guy to come and frickin' fix your damn cable. They'll come and hook you up. They'll be out here next frickin' day to hook up your cable, but get somebody out. Get somebody out to fix something that broke on their end, Try to get past that person on the phone that asks you if you turn the device on or off 3 times. You know what I'm saying? That's not how their business model works. Giving power back to electric companies with solar is a good idea, but will they find a way to charge you for it? Oh, I mean, they will. They will. I mean, there are co-ops out there that will allow you to hook into their system and as not standalone. And then what they'll do is they put a special meter on your house, and they will buy the power back from you that you don't use, that you create but don't use. And there are some municipalities that will not allow you to do that. They'll just be like, okay, well, your power bill looks like you made enough power for your power. But in reality, you made 4 times more power than you needed, and now they're getting that power, but not giving it back to you. So, let's see. I don't have anything really positive to say about power companies. There's a power company that I think it's Dominion. It's Dominion now. It was in New Bern, North Carolina, and they ran the bill up. It was so bad. The power through they had such a bad contract with Dominion Energy for the city of New Bern, North Carolina, that they owed Dominion millions of dollars, 20, 30, 40, 50 million dollars they owed them. And so what they would do is they would just sell their piece of the company until it finally got to Dominion. And even Dominion was like, well, you still owe us this money because we bought that debt. It's you got to pay us. It's like, how does that happen? Absolutely, how does that happen? So these power companies, they'll play, I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan. If I could disconnect today, I would. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into the final portion of this. The things that I wanted to make sure you guys, what is that? That is not what I wanted to click on. There we go. Oh, let's see here. So, oh boy. So what is all this leading to? What is this live stream leading to? Well, in the end, it always comes down to the food, guys. Perhaps the most alarming trend in mineral depletion concerns phosphorus, which is critical to fertilize soil and sustain agriculture. While phosphorus reserves are not running out, physical energy and economic factors means only a small percentage of it can be mined. Crop yield on a 40% of the world's arable land is already limited by economical phosphorus availability. A parallel trend documented in the report of Food and Agricultural Organizations Ergonomics to full El Masor. He's an ergonomist. Is an accelerating decline in land productivity due to industrial agricultural methods, which are degrading the soil by as much as 50% in some areas. Prices have gone, and this is driving the food prices straight through the roof. Prices have gone up by a factor of 3 to 5 and have remained at these levels for the past 5 to 6 years. They're not going to go down because they are caused by irreversible increases in production costs. These prices are already causing the decline of less efficient economies. We are not at an inversion point yet, but close, less than a decade away. Now, what does all that fancy word mean? All those fancy word means? It means that the land is not making as much food as it used to, for whatever reasons. Either you've chemicaled the hell out of it, or you're not using enough phosphorus, or you're just doing regular land depletion farming. There's a lot of different reasons why it's happening, but the bottom line is that it is happening. And you ever notice they always say 40%? Everything is 40%. We lost 40% of the land due to that war where the cranes is, for farming wheat. We lost lay down. Sorry about that, guys. So we lost 40% of the land in the land of cranes. Sorry about that. A little bit of dog discipline. And then you've got these countries that aren't allowing fertilizer. So now you're losing 40% of the crop. And now we're talking about another 40% of damage that has been done to all of the crops globally because of all these different things that we're doing to the land or not doing to the land. So it's cyclical. It's 40%, then it's 40%, and sooner or later there's nothing. Now, will the land disappear? No. My daddy always told me, if you buy land, son, don't sell it because they don't make it anymore. And what is happening to the land? I think the farmers are getting smart, but I also think that the farmers are getting priced out of the market where they can't make enough money to feed their own families. So they're being forced to sell their farms. Mineralize-wise, the agro industry, they're just fighting to stay alive. These farmers are fighting to keep making food. They're fighting to maintain a generational pass down of their farms to their children's. Yeah, that sounds good. It's just, they're just not making it. They're just not making it. So we're losing 40% of our farmers. Now, I've heard some reports that In some areas, the actual crops did reasonably well before things started getting cold. But that was sparse, few and far between. So it always comes down to the food, guys. It always comes down to the food. Let me go ahead and check the chat real quick here. Let's see here. People are consuming and wasting more than they are producing, so government is stepping in with a solution. What's the solution, Window Liquor? Are they gonna have big screens with some dude's face on it, and we're all gonna sit there and we're all gonna moan at the same time, This is how they push us into eating bugs. I think that ship has sailed, to be honest with you, Hicktown. I don't. People are not going to. It's bugs for most people is like fish for me. For me, fish is survival food. I don't eat fish unless it's like a fish stick. I'm just not a fan of it, and I would only do it if I had to survive. Let's see here. Feels very Hunger Games to me. Yeah, I mean, it's getting there. It really is getting there. But the thing is it's such a low boil. It's such a low boil that people are accepting it. I've heard the term normies. I've heard the term zombies. I prefer the term sheeple. But there's just so much of it where they're just going along to get along, and just. I think that our society in general has truly been doomed by the lack of parenting, the lack of discipline, the lack of work ethic that actually is, it's been driven into our children by these devices these libraries that we can carry in our pocket, and it's a little mind-blowing. It's sad. It's truly sad. And the only way out of it is for, it's so when you're trying to drive change and change and the people who don't like change because it's going to inconvenience them or their feelings fight back. It's almost like, I don't know. I don't want to use that analogy. I guess tough love is probably the best way to do it, because tiptoeing around it will not solve the problem. It never has, and it never will. It's like, we're just going to wait and see if the problem goes away by itself. That only works when you have like a crazy family member that you just want to get along with. That doesn't work here in the real world. So, things are moving towards a way of life that is nothing like what we as Americans really want. All of these feelings that people have just taken over their lives. We have somebody in our family that says that they are anti-Semitic, that they are, quote, I am anti-Semitic. So that tells me this person is either an idiot or brain damaged. There's no in between on this one. You either know what you're talking about or you don't. If you know what you're talking about, then you're stupid. You're a fool. You are against the way of living as a human society and being civil to each other. And if not, then you're an uneducated idiot. And unfortunately, this person has a lot of education, is extremely intelligent, but doesn't understand that what they're saying is outrageously and stupid. My husband always believes the world will self-destruct. I always have to think about the months or years before that actually happens. Yeah, I mean, as preppers, we're waiting for that switch to be thrown. That's what we're waiting for, But then what? Then what? Do you lock your door and eat your canned goods and shoot through the door? And I mean, what is it? What is your goal? Your goal should be to be able to live, to be that that person that people might look up to, you know, that person that people might want to emulate, you know. I think that's a lot more important than eating canned goods, locking your door, and shooting through it. You know, I think that the bunker mentality doesn't really work. So, very few leaders and a lot of, and a ton of followers. Yeah. Okay, let's see. Let's see. Did New York pass the S-213 law? Massive overreach for power through the guise of health. Bradley, I'm not familiar with the law. Which law is it you are talking about? S-213, huh? New York S-213 pass. All right. Oh wow. Says that it passed. Says it passed in June. If that's actually, I don't know what it's about. Related to false or misleading advertisements of food and food products, provide factors to determine whether the advertisement is false or misleading, provides for enforcement and a private right of action. I don't know if that's what you're talking about. So FEMA camp roundups. Okay, guys, so I think we've covered everything that we're going to cover today. Do me a favor. If you have not done it yet, hit that like and subscribe button. I will be doing these every day at 9:30 a.m. If you'd like to support the channel, do me a favor. There's links somewhere. Find them. Use them. I'm getting ready to start doing some things on the Patreon that a lot of other people have not done before. That's kind of like in the works. It takes a lot of work to get it set up. If you're interested in becoming a Patreon, go right ahead. This is a good time. There's trial offers. There's all sorts of good stuff there. And then if not, you can just buy me a cup of coffee, some kind of crap like that. All right, guys. I think that's going to be it for today. Stay safe. Have a great day, and I shall see you when I see you. Bye-bye. All right, my clapper-ons. Thank you for